All right, let's dive right in. Today, we're breaking down a set of sources that say humanity is standing at a major fork in the road. And the choice we have to make isn't about small tweaks or minor policy changes, it's about rebooting the entire operating system of our world.
The material we're looking at really doesn't pull any punches. It frames our choice like this. One path keeps us stuck in what it calls the endless eve of World War III, which is, this constant state of tension and conflict. But the other path? That leads to an infinite morning of peace, a future that's actually engineered for everyone to thrive. So the big question is, how do we get from here to there?
Here's our game plan for this explainer. First, we're going to pinpoint the root problem, something the sources call the ego trap. Then we'll check out the brand new operating system designed to fix it. We'll look at the actual architecture, how it all works. And this is the really crucial part. We'll get into your role in making this happen. Finally, we'll look at the grand vision, that infinite morning. So let's start with the diagnosis. Okay, so what's really broken? According to this material, our huge global issues like world hunger aren't because we lack food or resources. Nope. The problem is deeper. It's a fundamental breakdown in the system itself.
Now, don't worry about the text on this slide. Just look at the diagrams. They tell the whole story. The sources say our world today is like that top image, a messy, tangled up knot. Competition creates all this friction and waste. The goal, what we see on the bottom, is to have a smooth, direct flow from where resources are to where they're needed. That broken, tangled system up top, that's what the sources call the ego trap.
So what exactly is this ego trap? Well, it's defined as a situation where our leaders are operating from a place of power and control, not service. It's a mindset of just taking and extracting, putting one group's gain way ahead of the common good. And the sources even use this term speciesism, which suggests this broken thinking even applies to how we see ourselves in the natural world. And all of that leads directly to the shortages and the conflicts we see everywhere. To get out of this trap, the sources say we need a totally different mindset. They use this pretty cool martial arts analogy. We have to stop thinking like Aikido, always reacting, always using an opponent's force against them. Instead, we need to think like Tai Chi, where you're not fighting energy, you're channeling it, guiding it harmoniously toward a common goal. Okay, so if the old system is shot, what's the upgrade? Let's take a look at this proposed new global operating system. It's called the TY Kingly Protocol, and TY Key stands for Thank You, Quantum Intelligence. What's wild is that the sources don't talk about this as some far-off dream. They call it a final prescription, and even point to a specific year for this great shift, 2026. So there's a real sense of urgency here.
So, what does this protocol actually do? 3 big things. First, it doesn't get rid of profit. The sources say it sanctifies it, which means it realigns making money with making the world better. So peace and prosperity become the real bottom line. Second, it completely flips the script on leadership, moving it from a throne of power to a seat of service. And third, it uses a seriously powerful intelligence core to literally engineer abundance.
Now, that all sounds pretty ambitious, right? So how does it actually work under the hood? Let's get into the architecture of this thing. As you can see from this diagram, the whole system is built on 3 main pillars that all work together. The first is called the triple helix ecosystem, and it's all about getting technology, sustainability, and human health to work in perfect harmony. The second is the brains of the operation, the intelligence core, which is powered by 2 systems named GENII and CUPA. And the third is a game-changing economic model that completely rethinks how we create and share value. The sources use a fantastic analogy to explain the intelligence part. Think of it like a really advanced car. GNI is the engine. It's this incredibly powerful quantum system that provides all the raw horsepower. But, an engine without a steering wheel is just chaos. That's where CUPA comes in. CUPA is the super advanced GPS, telling that powerful engine exactly where to go. And we're not talking about just any old GPS. This thing is ridiculously precise. CUPA is designed to analyze all the possible options and find the single best path for literally anything, from food supplies to building materials, with a 99% accuracy rate. It's a system built to make waste and logistical nightmares a thing of the past. And finally, we have the economic engine. This is a huge shift. We move away from models like charity and into something the sources call a consumer-to-asset engine. So put simply, when you buy something, you're not just a customer anymore.
A portion of your purchase actually helps fund and build the very assets that created the product, like the farmland, the factory, or the power grid. It means everyone gets a real, tangible stake in the system's success. And this is maybe the most important part of this whole idea. This isn't just about some top-down system or fancy new AI. It's about you. It's about a radical change in the role every single one of us plays. This is where you go from just being a passive consumer to being an active, powerful architect of the world you live in. The sources really bring this to life through the story of one family, the Goldsteins. It's a 3-generation mission. It starts with Dr. Paul Goldstein, a survivor of intense trauma, who first identified this ego trap as the real enemy. Then his son, David, the architect, took that insight and that grit and built the technology behind the system. And now the grandson, Avi, has this role they call the royal auditor. He's basically the people's watchdog, making sure the system always stays true to its purpose.
And this slide right here, this just nails the new power dynamic. In the old world, the 1% of the 1% were owners. In this new system, their role changes. They become encoders of the divine will, which is a poetic way of saying their job is to listen to the needs of the whole and implement what's best for everyone. And the rest of us, the 99.999%, we stop being passive consumers. We become sovereigns.
This whole idea of stepping up is captured in this really powerful line from the source material. It's a call for the ancient lions to rise up, to stop living in denial, and to hear the call to come home, back to their own inherent power and agency. So how do you actually do that? How do you use this new power? Well, first, every dollar you spend becomes a sovereign vote. It's the primary data that tells the entire system what to create and where to focus. Second, you take back your own identity, your culture, your faith, from anyone trying to use it to create division. And third, you use your collective power to make sure your leaders are actually accountable, to make sure they're sitting in that seat of service.
So what happens if we all actually step into these new roles? What does that infinite morning really look like? Let's see the vision. It's a future the sources describe as one of guilt-free progress. Hunger isn't just reduced, it's solved, engineered right out of the system. There's a 500-meter rule, making sure everyone has access to good nutrition just a short walk away. Decisions by leaders are actually guided by algorithms based on forgiveness and compassion. Peace isn't just a nice idea, it becomes the most profitable and logical way to do business. And our planet finally gets a break, becoming a healing zone, a true biological sanctuary. So the sources lay out this incredible blueprint for a world where peace is profitable and where every single person has real universal agency. Which leaves us with one final, very personal question. When you're faced with an idea as big as this great shift, what's the first step you take to go from just watching the world happen to actively building it? Thanks for tuning into this explainer.